Yo, what's poppin', my people? It's your boy Crooks the Great, back at you guys with another banger of a UFC 5 news video. And in today's video, we're going to be covering one of the most wondered about things heading into UFC 5. And that is, what exactly did they do to negate knee and elbow spamming in UFC 5? We had heard that there had been talks about this. Devs had said things about this in interviews, but they didn't really get in depth on what they did to stop it. But Martial Mind dropped a video on his channel yesterday talking about how the devs really went about trying to eliminate knee and elbow spamming heading into UFC 5. So that's what we're going to be diving into today on today's video. I'll be giving you guys a little bit of a breakdown and my reaction as the video plays along. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video.
Name is Yves Gomez. He used to be a game changer. You guys probably already know who this is. And I talked to him about an issue that we all had in UFC 4 in regards to the knee elbow spam. And of course, in UFC 4, players who using characters with the combination, the knee and the elbow, that's all they did, right? It's like they enter the match and they just go knee and elbow and knee and elbow. And it's not that there wasn't really a way to counter it in UFC 4. There was, but it was harder than it needed to be for such a simple combination, right? That combination, especially when paired with a bunch of other spammy tactics, made some players way more difficult to deal with than they needed to be.
And this honestly is the truth, man. I mean, there was viable options to counter knees and elbows. Obviously, you could pull the elbows, you could minor step the knees, but it's like I said, it was so difficult. It was so much more difficult to counter than it was to actually throw the strike. And that's what frustrated me. And the knee and elbow combination itself, I felt like it was way too fast. So let's see exactly what they're going to do to it.
Right? So I talked to him about it, and I am so happy to say that combination is absolutely done with. It's been nuked. And in the clip you guys are about to watch, it's a fairly short clip. He talks about specifically what they did to it, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. Those of you that have been complaining about this, you're going to be really, really happy. And if you're the kind of person that the knee elbow was the bulk of your whole entire striking system, I think you're going to shed a few tears with this one. So,
hey, can we just stop for a second and talk about Martial Mind's outfit? This is a bold choice of a shirt, Martial. I fuck with it. What is that, salmon? That's a salmon colored shirt right there. I wonder what kind of shoes you got on, brother. Next time you get on a video, we need to see them shoes that you be wearing with these outfits, because I've noticed, you like them vibrant colors. You're one of them vibrant color wearing fellas. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. This shirt does look nice. But I'm just wondering what shoes go with those, bro. You wearing the all white shoes, or what's going on? But anyways, back to it.
Here's Yves.
And I have a surprise for you. Yeah. Something very recent. I was so curious about it that I tested it 2 a.m. to make sure it was really in and that I could mention it in this talk right now. But we took a Nerf hammer, but imagine a gigantic mole, a Morning Star or something, a war hammer to the knees and the elbows. Yeah. So yeah, it's a long list. Let me see if we can get it all.
Okay.
So first of all, the built-in evasion that the knees have, because you move your head back a little bit, that's gone. So now the hooks and the uppercuts can hit you, and we made sure it wouldn't look wonky. Yeah, it looks almost wonky in the worst case scenarios, because we actually have new animations for the knees, and the new animation for the back knee. I don't know if you've seen it. I love it. Has the fighter leaning back even more, but the punches still look plausible reaching further ahead when they do that. So the reason we didn't do this change before, it was this blew out during late UFC 4, and it would be too risky to change, and then suddenly the animations break and fighters fly away. That kind of thing can happen. But now with somewhat of a fresh start in UFC 5, we had the time to do it and examine it, see if it breaks, and so far it's looking great. So that evasion is gone. I think that is the main thing. That was the most OP element. Now,
so basically, what they have done to adjust the knee and elbow spamming in UFC 5 is they didn't give the knee as much evasion frames as they had in UFC 4. For those of you guys that don't know what evasion frames are, it is when you throw a knee, right, specifically just for the knee, it kind of pops you back out of range of strikes. So basically, if you threw a hook or if you threw a straight and you didn't throw it at the right timing, that strike was gonna whiff and you were gonna eat a heavy knee to the body. And that's where you get a lot of these wonky body rocks and stuff like that. And that's how the knee and elbow was really, the knee specifically, was able to be so successful for a lot of people, was because it had a ton of evasion frames. But what Yves just said right now is they took those evasion frames away. So now even if you land the knee, you can still be punched with a hook. Now I'm wondering if it's going to add more damage because you're so vulnerable when throwing a knee, and that your knee is up, you're kind of off balance. So I'm wondering the damage, from the damage perspective, how that's going to work out. Is it going to drop? Let's say you throw a knee, right? You get hit with a lead hook, and let's say somebody comes up with a follow-up strike on the combination. Is that going to rock you? Is that going to, are you going to have to eat a 3-piece in order to get rocked in that scenario? Or, how is the knee going to be in terms of recovery frames to your block and stuff like that? There's a lot of interesting things that go into that. But I do like that they did adjust the evasion frames, because that is going to be it's going to make the knee and elbow spam that much more easily counterable if you can land strikes, even if you're being hit with the knee. So great job so far, but let's continue watching the video, and then I'll give you my full breakdown after we watch the entirety of the video.
The combos from the knees to the elbows and the elbows to the knees were slowed, and not by a little bit. They were slowed a lot, to a point where we were like, how much can we slow it without it looking weird? And
that actually is really noticeable. The side-by-side clip they just did with UFC 4 and UFC 5 right there. Let me go back. This side-by-side comparison that they just did with UFC 4 and UFC 5, we'll rewatch it, but look at the knee and elbow spam on the left and then on the right. It's considerably slowed down in UFC 5, which is great, because that's what made knee and elbow spamming such a pain in the ass to deal with in UFC 4, was that the knee to elbow combination was so damn fast. So not only did they take away the evasive frames on the knee, but they also slowed the combination down. I wouldn't say they slowed it down to where it's not viable, but at the same time they slowed it down enough to where I don't think it's going to be spammed in UFC 5, which is a great thing to see. And they're listening to the community, which I'm happy about, because we have been complaining about this damn knee and elbow spam since UFC 2.
Wow. To a point where we were like, how much can we slow it without it looking weird? And then we did it. And it looks like the fighter throws one strike and settles to throw the other strike, which makes it look like it's plausible, like the second strike is gonna have power. Whereas before, they would rush from one strike to the other, almost like they were just trying to touch the opponent with the second strike. So it should now look more plausible and not be nearly as powerful. The knee itself, only the rear knee, I suppose you're familiar with how the lead knee is actually not that fast, because it has a shift. So the rear knee itself, just as base speed, which is something that is surprisingly hard to change, like risky to change, because if you make certain things too slow, then you feel like you have a dead input, right? But for the rear knee, we very carefully made it slower, and it still looks plausible and feels okay. We made it a bit slower, significantly, but a bit. 4 frames, I think.
Woo!
And
what did I say? What did I say back in the day? I literally said, extend the frames on the damn knees, bruh. See, I'm telling y'all be thinking I'll be capping at y'all with my fixes and stuff like that for these spams. But I was right. They did exactly what I said should be done with the knees. Extend the frames out. Make it slower. And that's what they did. They slowed it down by making it a longer frame. So for those of you guys that don't understand frames is how long a move takes to play out and come back to a neutral stance. I don't know how fast the knees were in UFC 4 because they didn't release the frame data for it, but it was ridiculously fast. So one of the fixes that I said, if you've watched my streams or in videos when I'm knocking out knee and elbow spammers and stuff like that, is I've always said they need to extend the frames on the knees. They need to add more frames onto the knees in order to slow it down. And that'll give it a bigger counter window, or it'll just make it to where people have to be more tactical when they are trying to throw a knee. And that's exactly what Eves is saying that they did. So great job, man. And people, like I said, people don't think that they listen to the community, but this is something that not only myself, but a lot of the game changers as well as the content creators have been clamoring for in UFC 5. Please extend the frames out, and that's exactly what they did. So great work.
The elbow to elbow combos were also slowed down a bit. Yeah, those ones, there isn't much room to slow them a lot, but we slowed them down a bit, and they look plausible. And they shouldn't be that strong. They're supposed to be strong up close. That's the only time you can use them, but they probably won't be as overwhelming as before.
Ooh, I don't.
All right, so I sat down with.
We can't be watching that usually. You know, we're gonna get copyrighted. We don't want that. But anyways, the elbow to elbow, it's gonna be fast, ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna be fast, unfortunately, but they should be fast because elbows can be thrown relatively quick when you're inside at such a close range. So, I mean, I don't really have a problem with that. And elbow to elbow is really easily counterable. You just kind of pull, and you just got to wait a second and try to counter the second elbow. So those ones aren't as hard and as tough to counter as, say, the knee and elbow is. But, it could still be spammed a little bit if somebody's putting a lot of pressure on you and then just going elbow. But, we can't complain. The knee and elbow was really what I see a lot of people were complaining about. I myself complained about it. You know what I mean? So I'm glad they at least addressed the knee and elbow spamming, because I felt like that was such a viable thing to do in UFC 4 that's not going to be able to be used in UFC 5, which is really, really nice. So those of you guys that are knee and elbow spammers that literally base your whole stand-up on knee and elbow spamming, it's it, ladies and gentlemen. It's a wrap for you. It's a wrap for you. But that's it for the video, guys. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to slap that subscribe button as well as slap that like button if you're new to the channel. I do post MMA gaming content on this channel daily. And make sure to drop a comment in the comment section. What do you guys think about the changes heading into UFC 5? Do you love it? Do you have some concerns about it? Do you think knee and elbow spamming is still going to be a thing in UFC 5? And really, just tell me how you feel about the change. I love to hear it. Of course, if I don't get to your comment and respond to it, I will at least like it to let you know that I did read the comment. Because normally on these kind of videos, we do get a lot of feedback, which is nice. But unfortunately, I can't get to every single comment because I know a lot of you guys have damn near like page-long discussions in your comment sections. So I will like it to let you guys know if I read it, if I'm not able to reply. But until the next video, guys, take it easy, be safe, enjoy the rest of your guys' day, afternoon, evening, depending on where you guys are watching this from. And I will see you guys in the next video.